All right, hey, welcome. This is another episode of the Exchange Fantasy Football League, and I am very honored to have two guests tonight. I have Terra and I have Zach from FantasyZone. So welcome, Terra and Zach.
Thank you.
Great to have you guys. I saw you guys a little bit. I think I met Brad actually at the Expo, and that was fantastic. So I'm looking forward to asking a few questions, finding out more about FantasyZone and how you can help us and how we can help you and get this partnership going. And get any other questions, we're going to go ahead and start in a few seconds. So we'll be right back. All right, hey, and we are back again with Terra and Zach from FantasyZone. So who's going to speak? I want to find out a little bit about what FantasyZone is, how it got started, why it got started, and how's it going?
I'll take this one.
All right.
So FantasyZone is basically a dashboard, an aggregate for you to combine or kind of place all of your fantasy leagues in one place, so that you don't have to, on game day, go to several places to look at your scores.
Yep.
And I actually had the idea one day while grocery shopping. I was at the checkout line and quickly just wanted to see how I was doing in all my different leagues. And was a little frustrated, honestly, at having to, go here and go there, and just thought, wow, there's got to be an easier way. So Zach's parents actually are really good friends of ours. They were in town, and I started talking to them about it, and they liked it, and told my husband he liked it, and talked to Zach, and he said, I can actually do that. I can make that happen. So
wow,
we've been working on it for about 2 years now.
Okay.
So we were really excited to have it out there and kind of show it to people. It's very unique in that it's not for the casual fantasy football player. If you have one or two teams, it's really not, gonna maybe be that beneficial for you. But with a lot of the hardcore fantasy players that we've met, that they see some genuine value in it. So that's been nice.
Right. Awesome. So Zach, are you the techie guys? I see a CTO on your screen there.
Yeah, technical for sure. Yeah.
Okay. So you guys, so Terry, you had the idea, and then you ran it by people, and then Zach said, I can do that. So Zach, I'm not into coding at all, so I don't know squat about what you're going to say. But what kind of obstacles arose, or that you guys come across that you may not have thought might be coming across, and when you created this or started making it?
Yeah, I mean, in today's fantasy landscape, there's just so many different platforms out there. I mean, the whole gap between more traditional fantasy, daily fantasy, but now all the different sports, all the different scoring methods. Your platform, for example, is definitely one that's more of an outlier, more of a unique kind of system as well. So there's so many options now that like each platform has been kind of a case by case basis to support on our app, and just trying to take in that all this different data coming in and just putting it in kind of a uniform way to just quickly show someone, hey, like this is your score for this league, and so on. Okay.
And so you've had it for 2 years, or is it up? I mean, I know I actually belong to it. I only have 2 leagues or 2 teams that are not my format. I have 15 of mine, but I have a lot of mine. But so I am a premier customer of you guys too. So shout out to that, which is great. So are you guys? Is it working yet? Is it successful? Is there still some hurdles to go through, or what?
Yes and yes. Definitely still growing and actually learning more and more and finding out more of the platforms people would like for us to include. Okay. So I feel like we launched last football season, but mostly just to our friends and family. So we were excited to get to the Expo and really promote it and share it with true, fantasy football players. And so that's been great. We have had a lot of really good feedback and different ideas.
Mm-hmm.
Zach's been really working hard the last 2 years, and probably even harder now that we've had the expo and we've
that's good, right?
Yeah, it is. So yeah, we're definitely growing and expanding, and just excited to see, everything that we can actually accomplish.
Now, awesome. So are you only football at this point? I know on the app, you have the bottom, you have other sports. How's that going, Zach?
Yeah, we support some of the other sports, baseball, basketball, hockey for ESPN, Yahoo. I think Sleeper does basketball as well. Fleet Flicker, I think, has some of those as well. We're pushing up a new app update next week that's going to add some more platforms, including CBS and NFL, and CBS has all 4 of those sports too. So we're hoping once that update gets out, we're going to be sitting around like 15 total platforms.
Nice. So speaking of the expo, Tara, I know Brad was there. Were you there also?
Yes.
Okay. I'm not sure I saw you though. I don't think I met you, I don't think. But anyways, so what did you guys expect, and what did you guys experience at the expo?
I thought I would get a lot more like signups right then and there. But what we found was people would kind of download the app, and then it takes a lot of work. Well, it takes some doing to link your teams. So that's not something you're going to stop and do right in the middle of the expo. But we did meet a lot of people, got a lot of contacts and people that we're going to be reaching out to. And I'm hoping that they will reach out to us and, offer some feedback. It was really good to also meet a lot of the other vendors, and I was amazed at all the wonderful different ideas that are out there. I was very impressed with that. I didn't expect that. I don't know what I was expecting, but that kind of blew me away. But, the way people's minds work is just fascinating. And really the camaraderie, there was such a welcoming community, and everybody was willing to, learn about each other's platform and see how we can help each other and work together. And it was really just a fun event.
Yeah. It was awesome for us too. And it was our first time. So was it your first time there?
It was.
Okay, yeah. So I didn't know what to expect. I was kind of late to the game, and I got whatever, but a few months early, I guess maybe. But I didn't know what to expect. So I've gone to a lot of trade shows, and I think I knew how to handle that aspect. But when I created the Extreme Fantasy Football League, and then ultimately the Extreme Exchange, when you show, like you said, Tara, you make this product and you share it with some of your closest friends, your family and your neighbors, and you say, hey, help me out and give me some advice or thoughts. But when you expose yourself this way to the expo, no pun intended there, and find out, you're putting yourself quite vulnerable, and people can really ridicule and negative and be doubters. So I didn't know what to expect either, but it was very well received, as was yours. So it was great. And I've had I think you're the 4th guest on my show, and I've been on 2 shows since then myself. So the camaraderie, you mentioned that word, is exactly it, because we're all kind of in the same boat. And I don't know how many of us were there, 1,000, 2,000, I don't know what the number was. We're all in the same family. And whether I'm a fan, I'm just there walking around, or I'm a vendor and trying to hawk our product or whatever, or get my app downloaded, it was great. It was a wonderful experience. And we were the sponsor for Friday night, which was fantastic.
Oh, wow. Yeah, that was really fun.
We're going to do that. And it was awesome how Bob had our purple around the not even call it a roof, but the little areas around the thing. It was just great. It was a great experience all the way through. So I'm looking forward to it again.
Yeah, it was really fun. I'm already looking forward to next year's.
Yeah. Okay. So, what does somebody who, okay, so let's say I'm not Todd, I'm just somebody. And how do I find FantasyZone? Now, again, I think I was pretty knowledgeable in what's out there in the fantasy world, but I didn't ever know about you guys. What are you guys doing from a marketing side to get the name out there? Or you still keep it kind of hush hush or what?
Well, that's where we need to improve. We did do some ads on Facebook and social media last year, right before football season. We haven't really done that as much this year.
Okay.
And no, we're not trying to keep it quiet. We've actually got a lead to go to a local sports bar, and he said we could bring table topper, advertisements on one particular Sunday, and kind of talk to people about the app and promote it that way. Kind of help them get signed up.
Nice.
Yeah, so that's really good. We're trying to pick a really good busy Sunday. It's also a bar where they host the Buffalo Bills fan club, the watching parties, which we're a part of now. We just adopted the Buffalo Bills because of that group. It's so fun. And so, so it's always really crowded during the Buffalo Bills games. So we thought we would pick a particularly really, good game and go there. So, yeah.
Well, the Lions play Dallas again in Dallas this year.
Yeah. And I would love to see the Lions play. I love their head coach. They're one of our favorite teams too.
Yeah. Well, he played for you guys. So that was nice. So, all right. So what piqued your interest in the Extreme Fantasy Football League? What was it about us or our product that caught your eye? Was there anything in particular?
Well, I loved, we've played a lot of the different types of fantasy football leagues that are out there. And this was something I'd never heard of before. And I just thought was fascinating. My husband told me after he met you, he came over and said, "Oh, you've got to hear about this new league." And he kind of explained the concept. And I thought that sounds amazing.
Yeah.
And so, we've got money in the stock market. And so the whole concept just really seemed interesting to me. And I'm really excited to hear about some strategies and play this year.
Well, it was something that I didn't create the exchange until 2022. So 2 years ago, but I was getting bored. I'm old. I'm almost 60 years old. So I was playing fantasy football back in the early 80s with USA Today on Monday morning kind of thing, and way before Zach was even born. And so I was paper and pencil, and it was like 8 of us, my guys, my friends doing it. And we just kind of built up from there and kept playing it. And then by 2018, I was preparing for the upcoming draft. And I was like, why am I so bored? And I had done, I can literally say, every iteration of fantasy football up to that point. And I thought, why am I so bored? And I love football, and I love, of course, fantasy football. But I was like, I'm going to make some changes here. So I just jotted down probably 10, 12 things that I didn't like. And I'm actually a car dealer by heart. We owned a car dealership, but my friends retired. And I was like, well, as a car dealer, you always try to overcome objections. So I'm thinking, all right, my objection to this is this. And I just created a way to overcome it. So I started the league in 2018. This is our 6th year now. And it's our first year of going live, kind of, because I have what I thought was a good product. It's been out for 5 years, and it was trademarked, it was legally protected, all those kind of things we needed to do. So I'm all set and ready to go. And then I go to the Expo, and then it was great. But along the way, I kept thinking, all right, just because somebody has the first overall pick in a draft, and they take the best player, let's just say McCaffrey for the heck of it, doesn't mean that I'm that good at managing a fantasy football team. I got lucky for some reason that I got the first overall pick. And I thought, well, that's not it. How can I make this different? So I sat there at breakfast one morning and I'm watching the TV screen and it's showing the stock market and it's showing the graphs. I thought, that's it. I make it like a portfolio and you can manage, you can buy and sell your players. Would that work? And one of my partners in the company, name is Joe. He was the one with me also down at the Expo. And I ran the idea by Joe. And I said, does this make sense? Or am I just wrong? And he was like, wow, this is fantastic. So we did an 8-week test in 2022 with, I don't know, about 10 guys. And I wanted their true feedback. And it was all very, very positive. So I'm very happy, but we literally launched it on August 28th officially. So it's only been like a week old. And last night's game, we don't have the ability to sell anybody yet, but it was interesting to go through the math with my developer today. We want to make sure that all the algorithms that I had created were translated properly into the website so people know. And it was amazing. You see Mahomes last night, he lost almost $4 in value. Even Lamar Jackson lost like $3 in value. And I was like, this actually is working. This actually makes a lot of sense. So by the end of tonight, we'll have the ability to buy and sell. Buy, you can always buy. And you can sell, but the prices that have changed because last night's game. So I'm very happy about that. And then when I showed it off at the Expo, it was wonderful opportunity. So, but Zach, I told you I have 15 teams, 14 of my leagues and one in my exchange. How do I get my stuff on your site?
Yeah, I mean, it's such a great idea, such a great platform. We would definitely love to add you on our app. The easiest way we pretty much work is if there's some kind of API endpoint that we can hit and just
I'll make a note.
Read only, just fetch some data. Then from there, we can handle displaying it and everything like we need. But also the two big steps are like, user goes in, they authenticate their info, and then once they're authenticated, we fetch that data and then we can take it from there.
Okay. So, all right, that sounds wonderful. So, do you all play, do all of you, and including Brad, and I say all of you, do all of you play fantasy football regularly?
Yes.
Yeah. And what kind of formats are you guys used to playing? Do you guys play all of them, or ones you like or you don't like, or what?
I only play traditional, but
Okay.
Terra may have more experience with others.
Yes, we do the traditional. We play in a guillotine league. And then I did a best ball, also Survivor.
Okay.
We've kicked around starting a vampire league. Haven't done that one yet. So yeah, those are the different areas we've played.
It's funny how the different, I'm not going to say niches of, because they're all whatever, but the different varieties. Back in the day, it was just traditional, and we didn't even have a PPR name. You just got points because you got a reception. And then over time, you start adding defensive players and making a half PPR, and you have a super flex, and you get into auction, you get into dynasty, you get a keeper, and what's a dynasty versus what's a keeper, and but again, it's so many different things, and as we keep adding a new nuance or new difference, it just makes everybody the ability to get into a league is fantastic. I talked to the guys from Generations Fantasy Football who are there also.
They were great.
They are awesome. And actually they're on the platform also with us. They're on the league with us. And that's a great concept. He said there, he posts online that it was COVID time and people were not playing and the games are getting canceled or players getting canceled, and he wanted to still play. So why not take old data and do it? And man, I want that idea. I should have thought about that, right?
I wish we knew back then, because we were watching NASCAR and playing DraftKings NASCAR contests. So
Yeah. So I was like, man, there's so many different things. So that's when I kept thinking, all right, well, maybe mine makes sense because it's close enough to the norm, either on the EFFL leagues part or on my exchange part. They're close enough to the norm, but yet they're not the norm. So the first guy who ever mentioned, well, let's just do IDPs and throw in players for defense. That's kind of strange. Let's just try it and see how it goes. And now it's standard best ball. That one was a concept for me. That was like, I'd pick a team and don't touch it. And that's like, really? So again, that's a different kind of things. There was a gentleman, and I'm not going to call him out, but at the Expo also, that I thought was a little bit too out there. He had bingo cards, and I thought, well, that's interesting. Nice little concept, but it didn't incorporate what I thought a fantasy football league was. But I guess, hey, if it's something different, might as well do it. And if it gets more people into this industry, that's better for you and better for me. So
true.
That's kind of neat. So what's next on FantasyZone? What do you guys, what's goals? I know you mentioned, Zach, having other platforms. Is it to be like the number one? I guess I call you aggregate. Is that what I would say? Does that make sense?
Yes.
Yep.
Okay. Who is your? I guess. Okay. I ask questions here. What's your new goal or your next thing you want to do for FantasyZone? Either one of you two.
We are looking into adding European sports and growing that way. So kind of branching out, we've just come home with so many ideas. So that's something that we're working on for not any sooner probably than 2025, but and even some of the ideas we have for the football side probably won't get incorporated until next year. So.
Okay. Are you guys trying to only stay as an aggregate, or are you trying to maybe branch off into another league creation of your own or whatever it may be?
For now, we want to stay as an aggregate, but we definitely would be open to other options.
Okay. All right. And then Zach, so what is your experience? I know you're the CTO officially on there, and I know you're the tech guy, and it's like you're really young, so I'm sure you know what you're doing because you're younger than my kids probably. So what is your experience in the past as far as being a tech guy? And can I hire you? No, I'm sorry, I wouldn't do that.
You don't want to hire me.
So what's your experience of coding or designing websites or whatever?
Yeah, I am a full-time software developer engineer, so this is a side hustle that's very much skill related to my day-to-day. So it's a good fit.
Okay.
Background from college and professional work translated fairly well. So
Okay. Awesome. Well, I mentioned to you guys prior that we're going to look at some strategies from the exchange we may have here, and it's funny. There's a gentleman who is over 70 who even wrote a check. He paid for his league with a check to me. I was like, "What the heck is this thing?" So when I went and met him for lunch to try to show him how to log in and just all that kind of basic stuff, I started, diving into the exchange and how it works more. And he actually thought it was like a statistics based program where he wanted to get the players. And if you don't know, you get $1,000 of a portfolio money, and you can spend it any way you want. There's no requirements to have a certain number of people or number of positions or whatever. You can buy anybody you want. You just can't buy more than one of any one person. So you can't have more than one share of a person or a team. So, but he kept thinking, well, he wants to get Mahomes, he wants to get McCaffrey, he wants to get Lamar Jackson, he wants to get all those guys. And I'm like, well, you may not want to do that. And I explained to him a little bit why that it's so. Because again, my intention is whoever has the highest portfolio at the end of 18 weeks wins the money. And we pay out in 4 positions. So I said, it was Barry, I said, Barry, what we need to do here is I need to show you that you don't just want to spend your money on the superstars, because everybody is the value they have preseason is based on their last year's stats. So they're playing against their last year's ghost. And the rookies who are incoming have a price based on whatever round they were drafted in the draft.
Okay.
So if a McCaffrey, who's a $207.90, he is far and away the highest valued person in the league. If you want to spend more than 1/5 of your value on a McCaffrey, then you can go ahead and do that. But for you to make any money, he has to do better than his ghost from last year. Well, he had a pretty awesome year. So how much better can he do? Can he be? And so the way that it works is each stat that you get, and I have 3 stats. If I create anything, it's simple, just so you know. I create it, it's easy. So all I wanted to look at was I want to see the number of yards that somebody has gained and touchdowns they scored and then turnovers that they created. That's it. That's all that I want for a person. And I took the top 32 and I figured it all out. And the average player of the top 32 is $100. So the average quarterback is Tua Tagovailoa. He's $101 and change. So he got that number based on his last year's stats. If he does better, ultimately you'll see your stock value from him tick upward. But what is his cap? And I'm trying to tell Barry this at lunch. I said, all right, so what would be McCaffrey's cap? If he's $207 now, how much better can he be? $220 maybe? And he said, well, maybe. I said, well, then you're only making $13 over 18 weeks. That may not be enough. Let's do this and let's diversify. And when I started getting into it, because he knows stock market. So when I started saying those words to him, diversify, let's take one McCaffrey and take him to 3 quarterbacks and a receiver and then a defensive team. Let's go that way. He's like, oh, that makes a lot of sense. So, for instance, since you're based on last year's stats, the guy that I pick on, and I'm not a big fan of him because he used to be a Packer, is Aaron Rodgers. Aaron Rodgers, he played 4 snaps last year. His stats are nil. So the lowest price anybody can be preseason is $20. So he's $20. So you get $1,000 you can spend, and here's $20 can be Aaron Rodgers. So everybody who's in the league is buying Aaron Rodgers because it makes a lot of sense, right? And then like Sam Darnold, now he's the starting quarterback of Minnesota. He's $20. Bryce Young had a bad year. He's $20. So that's where the growth is going to be. And what I'm seeing so far, which is kind of what I wanted to see, are the players who may not be chosen in a regular traditional league or even in my extreme league are being chosen here. Because you're not always buying the superstar players. You're buying the Zamir Whites, the Sam Darnolds, the Bryce Youngs of the world who are on the lower end because now they have opportunity and they will probably surpass their last year's ghost. So in my eyes, it's a great concept, and to get those lower known players to be actually playing. And I have my mother, who's almost 80, and her husband, who actually is 80, is in it. And only because, and it could be as hands-on as you want. My mom doesn't know a thing. If the person's name is not Tom Brady, she does not know who the hell the person is. So she has 2 Tom Brady jerseys, and if he stopped playing, I don't know who else is playing, but go Lions. That's all she says. So she's going to buy the players and then not touch them for the rest of the season. Probably not touch them because she won't know how to buy or sell. Mm-hmm. But if you do know what you're doing, you can buy and sell and buy and sell and buy and sell as often as you want. There is not a transaction fee. Next year, there's going to be probably $2 of the portfolio money taken out per transaction. But if you wanted to, if our system was up, probably up right now, probably, you actually could buy somebody last night. If they played, like likely the tight end last night, he had a really good night. He won. He gained like $30 last night in his value. You could buy likely. You could sell him tonight. Buy somebody in the Packers-Eagles game, sell them. Buy somebody on Sunday. You could, they can play. You can sell them. You can do it as often as you want. There's no transaction fees. So it could go super hands-on, or it could be very much the opposite and say very little hands-on. And you could buy teams, players, whatever you want. And I think it's just going to be a really awesome thing. So I want you guys all to get in it. And if you guys are not already in, I think you guys are, right?
Mm-hmm.
Are you both already in it?
Uh-huh.
Okay. Because what I'll do is I will refund your money to get in the exchange, so you guys can give it and actually dig into it and have fun. So I'll make sure that I have our guy refund you guys' money for that, just so you guys can get a chance to really get into it and really like it. So, and that's kind of what the exchange is. And when I demo that out at the Expo, the feedback, the excitement was there, and I'm thankful for you guys to coming on by and checking it all out too. So
yeah, it's fascinating. I joined the other night and picked a couple of players, and then I thought, I'm going to learn a little bit more about this, and before I spent all of my money, and so I'm glad I got some more information, because I was doing what your friend was doing and just picking the big name people, and so now I understand where their stats are coming from, and especially this early, since we haven't had a lot of games.
Right. Yeah.
So
How about you, Zach? Yeah, Zach.
Any insider trading tips before the Brazil game tonight?
Well, I can tell you who I have. I have 16 people. 4 of them are quarterbacks. I went Daniel Jones, Bryce Young, Aaron Rodgers, and Sam Darnold. All of them are $20 a piece, so that's $80 there that I spent.
Yeah.
Pretty easy. And I don't expect a lot from any of them. I told Barry, it's a penny stock. If you're in the penny stocks, okay, it probably won't go up a lot. Well, Aaron Rodgers might, but I don't imagine Sam Darnold, Bryce Young, or Daniel Jones going up very much. But they go up even $40. Mm-hmm. And if the average player is at 100, then can Bryce Young become average? Yeah, maybe not, but maybe he's in the $80 range. Mm-hmm. And that's the kind of thing where if you are in the actual stock market, you might have, okay, and as an advisor, all right, you guys, we should buy Bryce Young because he's going to be, good. And at 80, you probably want to sell him because he's probably getting better than $80. So now you have your little thing there. So I really like that a lot. And the other guy is Zamir White. I'm not a big Zamir White fan from a fantasy football perspective. If you get a chance, I think it's $38, I think, for Zamir White. Zamir White is, $38.61. And you get a starting running back. And I think that's super cheap.
Yeah.
So will he get to 200? Probably not. You get to 80? Probably. And so it's just the portfolio is just a combination of the cash you have on hand and the assets, the players that you have. So that's kind of what we have. So it can be kind of fun. And we also, if you notice, we have offensive teams and teams for defense. We do both. Mm-hmm. So you guys can buy an offensive team if you want. And there's different algorithm mathematically for a team to be computed as is just having players, but it's the same kind of thing. It's points, it's yards, and then on the teams you also get if it's a win or a loss. Okay. So those kind of things. And just so you know, the for every win. So okay, I'm sorry. When a player or a team plays, their stats from that day translate into a dollar amount that they performed at. So there's a price that they have pregame, then they performed at something, so they gain performance, and then they get a percentage of the difference, whether it's up or down.
Okay.
So, and the way I have it set up is that every win is $100 of value. Every loss is $50 negative value. So if you go out there and you pick Carolina, this team, and I think I did, Carolina's team is $20. So I don't expect Carolina to get a lot of money, but for every win they get, I'm adding $100 to that day's results, right? And it's going to help me tick up a little bit so I can absorb a $50 loss. And then, so if they win 5 games, I may realize a few dollars here and there. But so it's not about the superstars. It's about the lower line players and being able to buy them and sell them. I call it, you get a chance to be your inner general manager. So that's my thought.
Yeah, I love the concept. Yeah.
So is there any cost for us to join, to be on your app, Zach?
I'm sure Terra and I can talk to that. I don't. To join the app and like use it, as a customer, we do have a premium subscription. But we'd love to have you on our app. Yeah,
that'd be great.
If you were there Friday night, you may have seen Terra. Zach, were you there? Zach, were you there Friday night? Yeah. Okay. My daughter was running around. She's super uber bubbly, and her boyfriend is he got dreads, whiter skin black guy, dreads down to his waist. You can't miss Brad. Everybody knows Brad. Brad's a hair guy. I have no hair. He has all the hair. And so they're running around the Centennial Plaza on Friday night, just talking to everybody, having a really good time. But Brad is my website guy. So you mentioned API, which is way over my head. I'll make sure that I communicate with Brad to get a hold of you. Is it you, Zach, or should I have the Terra also on it, or what?
Sure. Yeah, you can have both of us. Yeah. Okay.
I'll have Brad reach out to you guys and find out what you guys need from us, and kind of go from there. But it would be awesome to have us on there. I saw you have Underdog and Sleeper and all that kind of stuff too. So
that'd be great.
Yeah, that'd be great. We would love that.
Awesome. All right. Well, Zach, I gotta say, go blue.
I don't know about that, but it'll be a good game.
I didn't know that horns down is a way to say bad for the Longhorns. So, but I'm not gonna. I like Texas. I do. I love the state. I love it all. I've been in the state many times. I've literally driven through 40, 30, 20, and I-10. I've done all the 4 major highways going east-west. And actually, I recently drove from Florida all the way to Phoenix on I-10. And when I crossed into Texas from Louisiana, I think it was mile marker 874, I think it is, something like that. I'm like, good God, this is a long state, but it was awesome. And West Texas hills were amazing.
Oh yeah,
it was amazing. But I got a nail somewhere in there because I got to El Paso and I had a kind of a flat tire. So oh well. All right, guys. Well, thanks very much. Go Blue, Zach, and go Lions. I know you're a Cowboys fan back there, Terra. So good luck this year.
Me too.
All right, guys. Thanks very much. If you need anything, just give me a call, and I'll have Brad get hold of you guys on our end.
Thanks for having us.
Thank you much. Thanks for having us.
Bye, guys.
Bye.